all the way around, and the total area of the frame is going to be 391 meters squared. What should the outer dimensions of the frame be?
Alright, so we have the frame, and if we are looking at this frame, the inside of the frame is 17 by 11. The outside of the frame, down here, would be 17 plus what, Bryce? And I might put the other thing first, 17, but what am I adding to it? I have x on this side, and another x on this side, which gives me 2x. Does that make sense to everyone, that the width of this is 2x plus 17? So Sam, since you didn't have your notes, just write this down on your assignment or piece of paper or something. I am now looking at my width, Ava. What am I looking at for the width of this frame? 2x plus 11. So we have our rectangular frame, and similar to in your homework, if you're asked to do something rectangular, my hint is draw. So I want to find the area of it. Grace, what do I need to do to find the area of a rectangle?
Base times, or width times height.
Length times width times height equals our area. So Kylie, length was?
2x plus 17.
2x plus 17. You gotta have your calculator. If you don't have one, make sure you pick one up. My width in this case, Avery, is?
2x plus 11.
2x plus 11. And Addison, my area was?
391 inches squared.
391. Now, to start the problem, what you actually need to do first is we need to use that extended distributive property or FOIL, and we need to multiply this up. So Caleb, we're going to start multiplying. 2x times 2x gives us 4x to the second. I now need to get my middle term. So this is where your calculator might come in, right? I'm going to take 2x times 17. I'm also going to take 2x times 11, and I'm going to add those two together. So 22x plus taking 17 times 2x gives me what for my middle term, Georgia? And that's 34x. Does everyone agree that we're going to have, wait. 34, that's these two, 34x.
Yeah.
So this is 34x, and this is 22x, which gives us a total of 56x. Does that make sense why we had those two numbers, right? This is 34x, I agree, and this is 22x on the outside. So our inside and our outside total to 56x. We're going to keep going as I'm looking at that one. Ryan, what do we have for our last one when we take 17 times 11?
187.
Plus 187. Equals 391. But we cannot solve, in any of our homework questions that you did today, we cannot solve a quadratic if it is not equal to 0. So, Lauren, what do we need to do to get it equal to 0? Please do that. If you don't have a calculator, check with your shoulder partner. Hopefully they have one. It's now equal to 0. We're now going to be able to start thinking factor. 4x squared plus 56x. And it should be minus. Bryce, what'd you get? $204. And some of you are thinking, I got to use that AC method. These numbers are huge. This is so ugly. So look for something to make your life simpler. Do they have a common factor? They all have 4, right? 4 can go into 56, 4 can. So please put a 4 out in front. And I'm factoring out that 4. And this is going to make your life so much better. So we have x squared plus, instead of 56x, 56 divided by 4, would you end up with, Grace? Or not Grace, Reese? 14x. And my last one, if I'm looking at DJ, 204 divided by 4 gave us? Negative 51. So, right away, I'm not doing that AC. I'm thinking of factoring this. This 4 is really no longer part of that solution. And I'm trying to think, two numbers that multiply and give me 51, right? right? So it has to multiply to a negative 51 and add to 14. And when you think of 51, because you can add 5 and 1, we know it's divisible by what? You don't remember divisibility rules? Divisibility rules that you thought in 5th and 4th and 6th grade. Oh, I'll never use these. They make your life much easier. 5 plus 1 gives us 6. 6 is divisible by 3. 51 should be divisible by 3. If you divide 51 by 3, 3 goes into 51. 17. Oh, aren't those nice numbers to get 14? 3 and 17, I got to get 14. Which one has to be positive? 17. X plus 17 and x minus 3. Okay? Can I set this 4 equal to 0? It's 4, right? So we're going to continue solving this. I'm going to put x plus 17, just like you did in your homework today, equal to 0. That's going to be one solution. Or the second one is x minus 3 equals 0. In that first one, Ava, what'd you end up with? There are two solutions. And the other one would be, Noah? X equals 3. So, what should our dimensions of the frame be? Which one of these does not make any sense at all? Negative 17. We are not going to have this solution at all because length cannot be negative in the real world, right? If it just said solve this quadratic, these are possible solutions to the quadratic. This one is the only one that actually works. We still haven't answered the question. The question says, what are the dimensions of the outer frame? So, I need to look at 2x plus 17 using x is 3. So I'm putting in, when x is 3, I have 2 times 3 plus 17. That's going to be one of my dimensions, right? My other dimension is going to be 2x plus 11, which means 2 times 3, which gives us 6 plus 11. So my two dimensions that I am taking a look at should be, Tate, what are we ending up with?
43 and 17.
Okay, so I'm going to say that my dimensions are 23 inches by 17 inches to answer the question, okay? So, if we were going to check, I want you to go back here. It says, check this answer. And you've solved this problem. We got x equals 3 and you don't think it's right. You're going to go back to this problem right up here. And in your calculator, and actually let's go to the second line. Let's go here. And put in your calculator 2 times. Put in your calculator 3 squared, all right? Plus 56 times 3 minus 204. And see if you get 391. Oh, it should be 4, thank you. 4 times 3 squared. 56 times 3 minus 204. It's good I have somebody here to keep me honest. Make sure I'm doing it. And just like you, I'm sure sometimes some of you put down the wrong number. Like I was probably looking here thinking 2 and I put it 2 and I changed it to go to this problem. Does it come out to be 391? Did you put it in? Okay. So it checks, and that's how you can check as you are looking at this, okay? Yes? No?
We got 0.
If you put in, did you put in, oh, let's go put it plus, oh, that's my mistake, plus 187,
Yeah.
right? Plus 187.
Yeah.
I know, I did this equation. If you did this equation, you did get it equal to 0, which is good. Yes, again, thanks for keeping me honest. If you did with 187, then you should have got 391, all right? So, I want to look at your homework. And what I thought was really interesting, number 11. So I know this one isn't up there, but you're going to have some like this. What I had a couple people in here this morning doing with number 11, and with any of these, in 9, 11, 13, they were multiplying them out. Never, never, never do that if you're solving and you have 2 parentheses. If you already have it factored, you don't want to multiply. Because if I'm looking at number 11, the easiest way to solve number 11 is after I have the problem written down, is to put negative 3n equals 0, and then put 2n minus 5 equals 0. And I'm going to solve both of these. This one, I'm dividing by negative 3. Well, 0 divided by negative 3 is 0. And I'm done. And this one, I'm adding 5. 2n equals 5. N is equal to 5 over 2. I saw some of you put 13 down. 13. Your only step in 13 should be to put, you do not want to multiply this out with FOIL. You want to just start after you wrote down the problem equal to 0. You then want to put the next line to be 4a minus 7 equals 0. 3a plus 8 equals 0. You get some ugly fractions. You're just going to leave them as fractions. Don't change them to decimals. This first one, you would add 7. 4a equals 7. Divide both sides by 4. A is equal to 7/4. You are done with the problem. One answer is A equals 7/4. The other answer is when you solve here, it should come out to be a negative. Show the work. 8/3. I need to at least see you writing each one equal to 0. When you get down to 17 and 19, this is where you have to do that factoring, right? So if we are looking at number 17, 17, 19, 23, all the same. Which one should we look at? Which one is causing you the most grief? 17? Okay, so 17. 2, I'm going to use x instead of z just because my z's sometimes look like 2's. So 2x squared minus 21x minus 36 equals 0. First step in solving this is I want to try and use my AC method. AC means I'm taking 2 times negative 36, which equals a negative 72. Now, I might not want to try and look at that, but it has to add to a negative 21. So when I look at 2x squared, and I'm trying to figure out my 2x terms, right? Minus 36, and I'm keeping it equal to 0. Instead, here at 36, I might either want to break this down to 9 and 4, or 3 times 3 and 2 times 2, right? I got to get 21. So if I go 9 and 8, that doesn't help me, right? Anyone see the pattern? 4 and what? Can I go 4 and 18? No. What do you have? Anyone have it? Bryce, got it? 24 times 3. So if we are using, in this case, we have 6 times, if we are looking at it 6 times 4. If we're looking at that, so that we have 24 times 3. We have to get negative 21. Which one has to be positive?
No, 3.
And which one do we want to put first? It doesn't really matter, right? Kylie, what do you want to do? Go first. 24 or 3? 3. So I have 3x, and then I have to have a minus 24x. That adds to give me my middle term of negative 21. So this is totally going back to chapter 8. What you're going to notice on your Pearson, if you go to that, I left the Pearson test up for chapter 8. I reassigned it. I put up quizzes from 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are all these lessons we've been doing. But taking a look at this one, I now can factor it. So my greatest common factor as I'm looking at this. Start me out, Tate. Greatest common factor. X. So if I factor out an x, I'm left with 2x plus 3. Next, in the second part, I want to get a 2x plus 3, and I know I already have minuses. No, what am I factoring out that is common so that I get a 2x instead of 24? 12. Positive or negative? Negative. So I have negative 12. And now I'm going to have x plus 2x, thank you, plus 3. Keeping this whole thing equal to 0. Now at this point I had someone this morning say, oh, so I can put like this equal to 0 and just solve it? You need to have 2 parentheses first. So I need to have the x minus 12. I don't care if you put this parenthesis first or if you put 2x plus 3 first, right? It doesn't matter. as I go to solve this, I am now putting x minus 12 equals 0, which is kind of nice. I probably don't have to do too much work. You can probably do this in your head. X equals 12. The other solution, 2x plus 3 equals 0. X is also going to be equal to a negative 3 over 2. If I was looking at the graph of this, right, this is telling me way over here that this is a solution, 12, 0, and the other solution is right here at negative 1.5. And my parabola, because it's an x squared, the parabola would have been somewhere way down like this. That vertex would have been way down here. We don't have it written in vertex form, but we could have changed that and looked at that, okay? So that's really important as you are looking at those, okay? As we look at the other couple ones, 23, key thing in 23, you have to have it equal to 0. So you're going to rewrite this as 2w squared minus 11w plus 12 equals 0. You have to add 12 to both sides. Now do the same thing that we did in 17 as you look at 23. 35. Find the zeros of the function by factoring. Verify it by looking at the graph. So do you have to graph this one? Yes. When you graph it, what do you need to find? The vertex, right? And then you're going to make that table of x, y. So when I am looking at this one to do question number 35, the first thing it says to find the zeros, that means replace this f of x with 0 and factor x squared minus 3x plus 2. What multiplies to 2 and adds to negative 3? Check with your shoulder partner right now. So I have minus 2 and minus 1. X has to be equal to 2 and 1. That means this on my graph, right? My solution is at 2 and at 1. Right? This is 2, 0. That's one of the zeros. This is the other 0, 1, 0. Right? You are now going to find the vertex. How do you find the vertex? The x equals negative b over 2a. So you're going to go through and do that so that you have your vertex. It's already nice. You already have that. You really only need the vertex. Right? You might want to plug in when x is 0, because that should be up here someplace, right? If you plug in 0, it should be at 2, just by looking at that equation. So it's not too hard to find that vertex. All right. When we